Some pages from Night Owl BBS there, courtesy of Brian Martin. Night Owl BBS is online, or should be online right now, and can be found at nightowlbbs.ddns.net on port 6400. Once again, a huge thank you to Brian Martin for supplying us with those pages, not only from Night Owl, but also from the world of BBS and Teletext CFAX services from the last 40 years. Good evening, you're watching youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep live. The time is just coming up to 2 minutes past 8. Good evening, how are you doing? A very warm welcome to 8 till 8 live here on youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep with me, Tom. And I suppose welcome back after a break of 2 weeks. I said I wasn't here last week, so I had to, well, I didn't have to, but I went to go and see some family. So I had quite a nice weekend sitting in a pub in Staffordshire next to a canal with my brother, which wasn't bad. So yeah, it's just nice to do a bit of catching up. But we're back for this week. So good evening. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining me. Admittedly, I don't feel I've done any of the setup right this evening. So hopefully everything's looking all right. It's still light outside, which is weird. The chickens are still out. So that's going to be interesting very shortly. Because they're going to try to roost. And I've got this automatic door, right, which shuts automatically, hence the name, automatic door. And obviously it's not light sensitive, and it's not time sensitive. So we're getting to the point now where the chickens are still out. The door shuts for the night, and of course they're still out because they go to roost when it gets dark. So it might be quite interesting that happening while we're on air. I shall send my darling fiance out to go and herd the chickens in, if that's the case. So we'll carry on this evening. A few things I want to get through, a few notes first of all. I've decided, as we are now sort of slowly creeping into summer, for those of you in the for those of you in the northern hemisphere, we are creeping into summer. So obviously with the nights getting longer, people want to be out in the evenings. And traditionally, we don't do 8 till 8 the live stream over the summer period. So basically, I've kind of decided that the end of this month will be the end of this current season, season 3 of 8 till 8. So the last live stream plans to be on Saturday, the 31st of May, again from 2000 hours GMT. So that gives us 4 weeks, including today, if I've got that right. So, and then we'll obviously have a break for the summer and the autumn, and we'll probably, or hopefully, we'll be back with you live from November of this year. So probably after we've done the Cambridge Retro Computer Festival. So before I forget, let's have a quick look and a quick hello. And once again, huge thank you to all our Patreon and YouTube channel members. There they all are. Thank you so much to each and every one of them that continues to support me month in and month out. Really do appreciate it. You can join them on patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. Alternatively, you can join right here on YouTube. Just click the join button on any of the videos from youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. Show dates. So basically ending or finishing this live stream series on the 31st of May probably isn't a bad idea, because the next weekend, which is June the 7th and 8th, it's the Econet LAN party at the National Museum of Computing, Bletchley Park, Milton Keynes. I'm going to be there both days. As you probably know, regulars to the live stream will know we've been working on trying to get content or machines ready to go to that. So we've got 2 BBC Master 128s and 1 complete rebuilt RISC PC, which are hopefully going to be there, or should be there. So that's coming up, and hence it's a good time to probably finish the live stream series for this season. Later on, Cambridge, this is Cambridge Retro Festival at the Centre for Computing History in Cambridge. That'll be on Saturday the 15th and Sunday the 16th of November. After which is probably a very good time to restart the live stream again. So we'll probably be back with more live 8 till late after the Cambridge show in November, back by popular demand. So show dates well worth keeping an eye on. Actually, while I remember, click the right button. Here is actually the events. This is on the National Computing Museum. Get this right. National Museum of Computing. I can never say it right. National Museum of Computing. There we are. Bletchley Park. So here is the event and Econet LAN party. Full details are actually now on the website, including the network setup, the lunch, the pack downs. There is a series of talks going on, so I've actually got a bit more going on during the day. I've also got some kind of LAN network version of Elite, having some kind of Elite network multiplayer competition thing happening as well. So that's going to be quite interesting. I'll be very honest with you, don't really play Elite that well to be able to do any kind of competitive Elite playing. So I will probably watch with great interest from the sidelines. But it should be a good day. I'm looking forward to it, in all honesty. It's just been nice to have like 2 days basically to chill out at the museum and see if my stuff actually works or not. So we'll see. Should work. I mean, enough of you in the chat have been helping me along each week, so we should be good. Yeah, so that's coming up. I'm just looking at my notes of what else I've got to talk about. Probably should have a look in the chat, which I deliberately switched off just because it distracts me. So we'll say good evening to Keop, and we'll say good evening to the Imp67 and Brian Martin. Good evening, fellas. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you all so much for joining me. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a good fortnight off from watching me. By the way, you might have seen the latest video to go live on the main Wi-Fi Sheep channel has been part 1 of the RISC PC rebuild project. I bring this up because the RISC PC is taking up all of the space, and it's here because we're going to do some software installing and loading and messing around trying to get this machine ready this evening. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing this evening. Yeah, so I was kind of playing around with it a little bit before we came on air, and I've hit a little snag which we're going to have to try and address this evening, because I do want to get this machine ready for this exhibition year. Trying to think what else really. Yeah, I've been watching the snooker. Don't know if anyone's been watching the snooker, the World Championship from the Crucible, Sheffield. Kind of one of those things you kind of dip in and out of, because it's 17 days of competition, so you kind of course, and they play during the day when I'm at work. But I do try and pick it up in the evenings. Yeah, it was quite a nice thing to watch. I have to admit, it got withdrawal symptoms. The minute it stopped, and that was it. I know there's the Channel 5, because it was broadcast on the BBC. I think it's on Eurosport as well, but it's broadcast here on the BBC. And then they've got like a seniors championship running straight after, which I think's on Channel 5, but I haven't really got into watching all that. And yeah, I just felt a bit kind of, oh, I was enjoying that, and it's all over. I kind of just was quite happy just to sort of mindlessly sit there watching snooker. But yeah, so I'm a bit like, oh, that's a shame. But I'm not really a golf person, but isn't the PGA Tour starting up very shortly? So I don't know. I mean, I haven't got any Sky TV or subscription television, so I don't know if Radio 5 carries that. I don't know golf. I'm not really into golf, but it's like it might just be something to listen to mindlessly. I don't know. By the way, if anyone else does anything like that, please tell me I'm not on my own here. But yeah. Yeah, so work is... I can't talk too much about work because I get into trouble for it, but work is doing my head in. Students, engineering students, meant to be finishing physical build projects. They've got... How long have we got now? 4 or 5 weeks. They finish officially on June the 13th, right? And it's like, okay, so I'm the technician, right? So I oversee the the build projects and assist students in building technical engineering, electrical things. And it's like, you do need to kind of show up and do your degree work. And it's like, what are you doing? That I just think to myself, I swear to God, when I was a student, because I was a little bit older when I went to uni, I was like 21. And most of these are 18, 19, especially the first year builds. And I'm like, was I this bad when I was a student? I don't remember being this bad when I was a student, but maybe I was. I don't know, but maybe it's just the power of hindsight, maturity, and over a decade in freelancing electronics industry and teaching industry, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I wasn't that bad. Are you just like, you want to strangle them? It's like, just do your damn degree, show up, do the work. Yes, so it's all fun. It's all good. At least it's a job I enjoy doing, don't get me wrong. And it's not everybody. Some of them are actually like ahead of me. I wasn't like fully set up for them. And they were showing up ready to want to do the practical build. And I was like, could you come back in half an hour? So it's like, yeah. So some of them are actually already done the physical projects, practical projects, and circuit board design and construction. And they're over the line, they're finished. So it's like, right, so that's like 10 of you finished. Another 20, how many in the first year? There's 36 in the first year. So yeah, it's like at least 25 more, something like that, 25, 26 more to do. So like, right, 4 weeks. Come on, let's get over the line. So that's that. Also at work, interestingly, so we do a lot of commercial drone research and flying and things like that at the university. And potentially I have been offered the ability to be trained to actually have a drone license because you can fly like the little toy drones, the ones you power your phone and stuff, without a license. But to fly or drive, but to fly anything heavier, you do need to have a license in the UK. And I've actually been offered the ability through work to actually do the trainings. We do the flight training at the campus, and they said, would you like to be trained and licensed for drone aircraft and stuff. I was like, oh gosh, that's an ability. Yes, that would be good. So there's a possibility of maybe over the summer actually being trained and being licensed, which would be kind of cool. So that's coming up. Shall I show you a few things I've acquired in the past week? That's the wrong mouse. Right, you just have to excuse the great mass of this PC. We'll just have to sort of work around it. But right, so yeah, a few little bits saved from the scrap boxes. Never guess where these came from. Having the big chuck out at work, and it was like, right, so these are Raspberry Pi 2-3 type cases that no one's really ever going to use, because if you're going to use Pis, you're going to be using Pi 4-5 now. So, but I obviously still have a potential use for the slightly older Pi. So I was like, right, well, there's a couple of official old school Pi cases. So rescued from the from work. It does make me laugh how they actually brand it as, before me, this is, by the way, Raspberry Pi microcontroller. I'm like, it's not really a microcontroller, it's a single board computer, but I'm not going to have that argument because it can run in bare metal mode. You can technically run it as a microcontroller, although officially it's not. But yeah, anyway, I'm not getting there. And also just because we seem to be chucking a load of these, that it's just a 5-volt UK standard pin mains power supply, switching power supply, just on the barrel jack center. I think these are center positive. So again, we just seem to be chucking a load of these out. We actually have to pay per every plug. So these have been in store and not used, but you still have to pay for the safety test on stuff we're not using. So it's like, if we're not using it, we need to kind of remove it from circulation. So I'm like, right, well, fine, I'll have that. And then Thursday, I went to the what's known as the Salop Amateur Radio Society. So it's the ham radio club here in central Shrewsbury, Shropshire. And they're having a tabletop sale. Excuse me. I always stop burping and hiccuping when I'm trying to live stream. It's almost every week I do this. Right. So basically, it's a tabletop sale of deceased members' items, which is always seems to be the way of ham radio. It's obviously has a very older demographic. You think retro computing and the kind of electronic stuff that we do is the older demographic. We are relatively young people compared to the ham radio scene, which is, you know, up there with the model railway scene in, you know, everyone kind of retired bar me, it seems. Anyway, cut long story short, acquired some bits. So I've stacked this up incorrectly. Check this out. So it was all just on tabletops. It was, you know, some of it was priced up, some of it wasn't. So I only acquired this on Thursday evening. This is a very nice, compact, I think it's 8-channel, so it's 4-channel, 8-channel mixer, audio mixer. And it does actually come with a power supply, be it a American plug of all things. So although it is 240 volt compliant, there's actually a US to UK pin adapter. The only snag with those is they're not keyed, so it is possible to put things in the wrong way. Never madly the US plug socket standard. Seriously, it's so flimsy compared to the British standard. So anyway, so it sort of goes. I mean, I'm assuming it's not good to get this in the wrong way. But yes, yeah, so you can do that, and then you can plug in, I guess. But saying that, I mean, it's an odd one because it will actually support the higher 240 volt, or actually 230 in this country, 230 volt, 50 hertz. But you don't have to. I mean, this feels extremely cheap, but you don't. I mean, I've got other power supplies that will do 12 volts. You just need a generic barrel connector, 12 volts center positive. So yeah, so I thought that was quite neat, and it wasn't labeled up or priced. And I said, how much, you know, how much? Well, what do you want to offer for it? Anyway, sort of settled on £20. So it's just like it's barely ever been used. I do have a much larger audio desk that we originally used. Oh God, going back to the original Wi-Fi Shoot Radio Show 2016. It's a proper one, you know, the sliders and stuff. But this would be quite good, especially for potential ham radio rig, which I'm doing here, just to have multiple inputs between like microphones or computers inputting and then the output going straight to the transmitter. So it does have potential uses both in streaming, broadcasting, recording, and of course ham radio. So 20 quid, I thought that's actually not bad. Wasn't anything I bought though. So you might remember, just going to stick with ham radio just a minute. I'm getting all sorts of dust on my nice clean wrist PC case. You might remember this transceiver which I picked up brand new about a month or two ago now, and it's a HF, so it's high frequency band. So basically it's a transmitter. It's a ham radio transmitter or transceiver, so it can receive and transmit on the various licensed HF bands. Again, I'm actually, this is my call sign, M6IDT. I am licensed. I do have a UK ham radio. Well, we say ham radio is a generic term. This is a bit more than just CB radio, which you don't need a license. Citizens band. If you want to be on like amateur or hobbyist radio, you do need to be licensed to operate in different bits of the radio spectrum, which I am. So makes owning and operating this kind of kit legal, because you do have to be licensed to own or operate this stuff. So anyway, transceiver that you've already seen, and again out of the sale, same sale as the mixer came from, I picked up this little box, and this is an aerial tuner. So basically the link between the transmitter and the aerial that you're transmitting or broadcasting from needs to be tuned and balanced. I don't fully understand quite how this works, but I do know you do need to tune stuff, otherwise you can actually, all that radiation that you're kicking out, what's called the RF. You might remember when I was testing and I said about how I blasted myself and the entire room with about 5 watts of RF radiation, which is enough to get to Europe over the air on. And lights were flickering, so you do need a little bit more than just sticking a piece of wire on the end of the box. So this is a tuner, and this one actually has a battery in, so I can turn it on. Again, it's Arduino powered. So you've actually got the power, and you've then got the capacitance, I believe. Again, people will be yelling at me. SWR is, I forget. So I do need to figure this out. You have a tune button, and basically, if I turn it off, basically you've got RF in, which is from here, and antenna out. Check out these. These are PL, I forget the exact name of these, PL something connectors, and they are absolutely huge. They're like proper ham or CB radio type connectors, and although these are all from the same sort of family of Chinese built units, the transceiver is actually using BNC as opposed to this PL whatever it is standard that the switching unit oh, here we are. Count knows all about this. PL259. Yeah, that's it, that's the one. Yeah, which is a little bit new to me actually, but the other day, as in today, I did some ordering from Amazon, and I ordered these, which are adapters. So basically clip and screw on, and basically that then allows you, wrong way around, that then allows you to basically go from BNC to BNC, and in the same package some very short BNC cable. Now obviously we're more familiar with BNC because it's the standard for video that the BBC Micro uses, annoyingly, on the back of it, but these are actually BNC to BNC. So basically what you can now do is link from your transceiver, there we go, link from the transceiver to the tuning unit. That sort of sits kind of like that. So link from the transceiver to the tuning unit, and from the tuning unit to the antenna, the aerial that you're broadcasting on. I have a mini whip HF, or well, multi-band HF aerial on order, and I have a sort of J-band or J-bend, just like standard TV aerial, Yagi TV aerial metal mast on the way as well. So I can hopefully attach that to the side of the house, do a bit of wiring with some BNC type coax aerial cable. Not too dissimilar to the stuff you'd use for TV if you receive your TV over the air. So yeah, so that's kind of something. It's another project brewing along. This is going to be over on Wi-Fi Shoot Channel 2. Will be probably where we're going to do the radio stuff, and it is kind of probably something I'm going to be doing over the summer, ad hoc, because I really would like to experiment to do a bit more with this kind of stuff, considering I'm spending a little bit of money to get it over the line. It's not hugely expensive. You can spend a lot more. But yeah, so I'm kind of keen to get a setup, and also I want to experiment. You may remember from 2 weeks ago, I think it was, we were doing slow scan television, SSTV, which is a television format that works over the what's called USB or upper sideband mode on HF, high frequency, so basically on the shortwave, and that's kind of something I'd like to experiment with. So basically means connecting a Raspberry Pi with the software to the transceiver, from the transceiver through the aerial tuner back out, and then hopefully we can broadcast and receive slow scan television signals, and with a plan of maybe over the summer and through Wi-Fi Shoot Channel 2, M6IDT slow scan television service over the air, and possibly streaming on Channel 2 as well. So that's kind of my thinking in the project for basically this summer, assuming I'm not moving house, which we're not talking about that because that is not going well at the moment. So let's just take this apart. We'll get there eventually, but I'm assuming I'm here for a bit longer. There we go. But yeah, no, I've never used these PL 259s. Thank you for that, key up. Twist everyone's names up again. So yeah, so that's just a little bit of the sort of new stuff floating around. To be honest with you, I've just been so busy with work, and as we're kind of getting to the end of the academic year, and obviously having last week end off to go and see family, trying to sort of catch up. I've not actually been back here in this room. Wrong mouse. Not actually been back in this room all week, actually, because it's the first time I've been back in here. So, yeah, just trying to sort of catch up on where we are. Stuff everywhere. There we are, put it out of the way. Yeah. So, yeah, that's that. What else? I'm just thinking. All right, yes. So, at some point, and we'll probably save this now until later in the year. Do you remember that from Olimex, the Aegon Light 2, the Z80 single board, modern single board computer that was a proper Zilog Z80 and ESP32 tied together onto a single board computer that ran BBC Basic in Z80 mode. And we kind of had a play with that and started to hit some issues with it, and I wasn't overly impressed. Then we just got busy and other things happened. So at some point I'd like to try and get back to looking at this board, and also seeing if there's any interesting software being developed. So there was some talk about a BBS interpreter being created for this system. So that would be interesting. how that works, or if it's compatible with anything I've got, I don't know. Obviously, and again, huge thanks to Brian Martin there. We got BBS running on the BBC Micro 2 weeks ago, last time we were on air, and I think we had a look at Keop's BBS as well. Can I remember any of my login details for the latter one we looked at? No. Can I even remember what it was? No. But I know I'll have to watch the video to see what I did. But yeah, that was very interesting, and I really am hoping to be able to show the BBC Micro running the BBS at shows, because that would be very cool, with a view of possibly having some sort of very small BBS presence myself. Not 100% sure on that at the moment, but it'd be a nice tie-in to have a BBS and have a slow scan television platform, and obviously 2 technology or rough technology based YouTube channels, Wi-Fi Sheep, Wi-Fi Sheep 2. It all kind of, it's all in the mix. It's all quite good. And Kelp was asking me about Facebook Messenger. You do realise I have to go in the other room. If I'm going to look at it, I have to go in the other room, because if I bring my phone, I can bring my phone in here and just see it, but you'll hear the buzzing because the microphone doesn't filter out the noise. So, is it worth me grabbing my phone? I can do. I mean, we're not going anywhere. Do you know what? Let me grab my phone, but I warn you, there's going to be a ton of interference. I should put it in airplane mode, really. Right. It's a bit late now. I'll grab my phone. So, right. Hang on, there we are. Right. So, just excuse me a moment while I just... it's probably something like Tom, your flies are undone or something. Where are we? Actually, if you've sent it... have you sent it to me personally, or have you sent it on... Wi-Fi sheet? I should be able to access. Can I even access the Wi-Fi sheet on my phone? Probably not. So if it's not hyper, let me send details. Okay. Oh, there we go. Oh, thank you. You're sending me the right. So this is Keop sending me my login details for the BBS. I cannot remember what I did last time 2 weeks ago. Right, yeah, rather embarrassingly, thanks for that, by the way. Brian Martin from Night Owl had to send me my own password and login details because I'd forgotten them completely. I was like, I don't even know how to. This was kind of just before I started, promoting that BBS, and I was like, I don't even remember how to log in. What's my password? Right, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Right, I appreciate it. There we go. Right, we're all good. So, yeah. Excellent. Yes, brilliant. Right, yeah. So, don't think we'll be doing any BBSing or live BBSing tonight, because I want to try and get this RISC-PC sorted out. But anyway, just to finish off where we're at. So, yeah, I want to do something with this. I've actually got Gartmon actually sent me, I think I mentioned this before, has sent me the blank PCBs to build a oh god, what's it called? Kim 1 Uno, which is very kindly sent, and I've had these boards for like a year, possibly even 2 years now, and I've got all the bits, and I wanted to do an actual like build video project, and I just haven't got around to it because I'd quite like to experiment with a clone, Kim 1. He kind of said it was in the same vein of the Tiny Basic Computers, which is another project, which is our project, Project Rio, Tiny Basic Computers, the Wi-Fi Sheep 8-build computer system, which I have every intention in the world of getting back to, because there's a new prototype to build, new version of Rio Shell the GUI interface that I want to release. Too much to do, far too much to do, and just myself to do it, unfortunately. But so thanks for everyone who continues to support me on that. Thank you for the patience and waiting for me, because I know I am massively behind on a lot of stuff. But hey, what can I say? At least I'm busy. So right, yeah. Let's. I think that's, if I remember anything else. So yeah, okay, right. So RISC-PC. So the idea of the Rotten Acorns project, which we've started here on Wi-Fi Sheep, and there will be a playlist shortly for Rotten Acorns. So we actually started with part 1 of rebuilding the Acorn RISC-PC. That video is now live. It's on the channel and it's sort of open for everyone to look at. It did go 24-hour preview to all, or nearly all, Patreon and YouTube channel members. They get 24-hour first look access on new content. Yeah, so basically, as I said in the beginning of the live stream here, if you follow this and watch me, you already know we've got the machine here and running. The series at the moment is 5 parts long, so it's nearly a good couple of hours of content. I've only got episode 1 edited at the moment, but that, the one that's online, so I need to get the rest done. But yeah, so basically this machine I want to take out to Bletchley Park. I want to take it to Cambridge. So I want to sort of get some software on it, hence it's here. It's all, I appreciate this is not a very good view. I would start messing around. I will mess with the camera, but it usually ends up being very bad. And it's kind of basically just this massive pile of wires that it's tied into. But yeah, okay. So apologies if you're suddenly going to get seasickness. But okay, so RISC-PC, we've got a slightly droopy door. I need to fix that. The door's getting a bit droopy. So the machine is back together. There's nothing original inside it other than the power LEDs are original. The case, I guess you could say, it is original. It's not all the same, or not all one machine, but it's there. Where the optical drive would go is now a USB hub, and this particular case had where the floppy drive would have gone has been plated over. So yeah, and we do actually have a 3D printed working power button. This machine will run with PS2 compatible mice. Somebody, I don't know if it was you, Chaot, but somebody, I've to check who it was, sent me some details during the last live stream about PS2 mice that were actually the correct Logitech. Digilog, what am I talking about? Logitech mice that was actually used for the original machines. The issue was that the Acorn mice used, it was all serial based, used a slightly different connector type that was originally used for the Archimedes, which means they're not PS2 compatible technically. So, but we're using PS2 mice. For tonight, I've just got USB, because we can use USB keyboard and mice, because this is now a USB machine. It's actually a Raspberry Pi 4 compute module and AI board, or AI I/O board inside, because the original electrics were completely shot. I mean, properly shot. If you watch part 0 of Rotten Acorns, when I was first looking at the machine, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, right, so the machine should power up. This button does work. The light does come on. There's no fan. It's dead silent now. And hopefully, and we'll cut to the right feed for you in a minute. Anyone alive? Come on. You should be alive. There we go. It's a little slow getting going, but there we are. So, there we are. Right. So it is cabled in via Ethernet hardwire cable. There we go. It's running RISC OS 5. It's one of the latest versions of 5. It's just been made to look sort of almost period correct. It's not quite period correct, but you get the idea. Wow, that mouse is fast when it's on there. That mouse is very fast because it's set up for ball and wheel trackball type original mice, not LED based mice. So or laser mice, whatever you want to call them. So it's a little bit fast. Just for those of you that are interested, he says, as my mouse is now playing up. Come on. There we go. Right. For those of you that are interested, that is the current build. It's version 5.30 from just over a year ago. So we haven't had an update in 12 months now. So it's the latest version. 27th of April 2024 is the build of RiskQuest 5 that I am actually running on this system. As I said, it's been sort of made to look, because it's got all the original Acorn themes, so it's been made to look sort of vintage-esque. And what I have been doing was, before we came on air, I started streaming, I started collecting the documents. I started collecting all the stuff that I had that sort of RiskOS that would run. Unfortunately, in just dumping everything ready to try and do a mass install this evening, which is kind of the project I would like to do, unfortunately, I've kind of filled up the flash space. So this is not running off SD card, it's running off eMMC on the Raspberry Pi Compute module. So we're not booting from SD card on this machine. We're down to 488k of free space, and I've used nearly the entire gig, or 2 gigs. Whoops, basically. Basically, I want to install every emulator, game, anything that's kind of cool or interesting. I mean, let's be honest with you, this machine fundamentally will be a games machine. When it's on exhibition, people want to play with the software. They're not going to want to look at bus timetables or, the more boring, mundane stuff. They just want the games, or they want the emulators. So I've even got things like DOS games and things, Windows installs, even SimEarth there. Full emulator stack, there we are, full emulator stack. So Acorn Archimedes, BBC Micro, all sorts of them, and DOSBox as well. I haven't installed a DOSBox. So basically I need some more space to install this on. And you might remember from, if I just cut back, here we are. You might remember from the last time we looked at RiskPC, I was looking at the idea of actually installing a PCIe card into the slot on the I/O board inside. And I actually have one of the, if I show you, one of the official Raspberry Pi branded NVMe SSDs, so solid state hard drives. This is a 256 gig drive, basic solid state hard drive. So if we actually put all the software on this, instead of trying to run it off the eMMC on this, then we can potentially just run the OS off the eMMC and have the majority of the software running off flash card. So that's what I'm thinking of trying to do. Unfortunately, we do need a piece of software for that, and I've got it in the RiskOS setup software, and we need something called Partition Manager, which is in a zip format. This is what I couldn't get to install last time. Let me just hang on. There you go. You can't see what I'm doing. There we are. Right, apologies. Okay, so basically I've got RiskOS setup software, and then in software here I've got Partition Manager. These files, by the way, this is what a Unix or Mac system dumps. So if these have been on a Mac, it dumps all these little reference files that you kind of need to get rid of because it just makes everything look messy. So we just delete those. There we go. So I've got serial USB, which would actually allow me to potentially plug this machine into the BBC Micro using the serial cable that was kindly sent to me via Brian Martin. So we potentially could actually remotely run a BBC Micro from just a terminal window. If you go task window, for example, you could actually technically run from a task window, which would be interesting. So you could actually plug this into a BBC Master, for example. But we'll just discard that a moment. Right. So if I now, how do I do this again? Double click. There we go. Partition manager. And we need to put it somewhere remotely intelligent. Apps would be a clever or should it go under utilities? Probably under utilities actually. So this is all the stuff you get pre-installed, but let's just add package manager. This isn't going to work because I've got absolutely no space on the system. Right, that is annoying. So we're going to have to wipe some stuff off and put it back on, basically. So, yeah, right. This is the problem. I've kind of slightly overcooked it, if I'm being very honest. Right, so what we're going to dump? We're going to have to dump something. Probably we'll dump the acorn. Let's dump that for the moment. To be honest with you, RISC-OS, if you've never used RISC-OS, and I remind you, this is not an emulation, this is running natively on the ARM Pi 4 hardware. I mean, it has its problems, it is dated, but it is nice to use. I cannot take that away, you know, it is nice to use. It's just a bit frustrating sometimes. And in a sort of vintage retro capacity, it's great, but I wouldn't try and use this for daily driver stuff. It's not as good now as Raspberry and Linux on the Pi. It's limited, very limited, but it's, you know, it's nice for what it is, and running it on something that looks like a RISC PC has its advantages, put it that way. Right, so can we now copy that? I've got Windows everywhere, utilities, right. Will that now go in there? Yes, it will. Okay. Excellent. Right, that works. So I've got, let's go to file core. We've got 5 gig of, where's that 5 gig of unallocated space come from then? Oh, I know, because this is 8 gig eMMC. Right, so could I, for example, format that into something? New volume. Or will that break things very badly? I'm just reading the chat for advice here before I continue. So, this is the 67, who is very much a RISC PC fan and in general. So yeah, yeah, some RISC Raspberry Pi 4 looks so much. Oh yeah, Rob. So it is. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, it is considerably more responsive. I mean, we've ran Windows 11. You can run Windows 11 on this. There's an official Pi build that does run on the 4 and 5. And yeah, it's slow and sluggish. Well, this is extremely fast. And it has its place, and it is nice to use. So if I now go next, hard disk 4. Let's put it in file core format. So file core is, so you could have it in FAT format, but put it in file core format. Not bootable, and volume name Risk PC. Format. Yes, and this is where I brick the system. Okay. So what happens now then? So I formatted that. I've never done this before, so I'm guessing. Oh, we're not mounted. Okay, so right. Let's just do a very quick. Let's do a reboot. See what it does. This is where I bricked it, and it won't come back up now. So far, so good. Okay. Is that locked up? It looks like it's locked up. Right, come on. Yeah, okay, right, thank you. Okay, right, so that's that. So we've got unmounted. How do I mount that then? I was hoping there might just be an option that says, how do I mount that then? Okay. So I've got this space which I need to mount if we're going to, do you know what? So I've got 5 gig of space which I can't mount, and I'm not entirely sure how one does that. So it's SDFS. It's probably a command to do it, which I do need to look up. Disks. Don't really want to add any. No. Okay. System. No. Okay. All right. We'll leave that there a minute because I feel like there's probably a command to mount a disk, like a star command. So you go star, like command, you go star basic, and it'll launch BBC Basic, which is nothing I like about this OS. Just BBC Basic is just right there. So yes, this would be the equivalent to the terminal. It needs to be on a second physical. Oh, does it? So I can't just. Okay, hang on. Information coming in. This is what I like. He says I can just sit here and go, I don't know what I'm doing. So RISC-OS 5 file call doesn't understand partitions. Hence, you can only mount one file call. Right. If you want to second file. Okay. Right. Okay. So basically, you can't do what I thought we could do. So let's just quit out of this. Oh, caps lock, quit, back up. Right, so you can't make that. That's annoying. That's really annoying. Okay, right. So we need a second physical. I think I knew that. I think I did know that, but you know what it's like. Right. So we need a second physical device to format for this to work. That's annoying. So hence we have a physical second device. So let's just turn this machine off. Martin's saying, couldn't you make the main partition bigger? I could, but I corrupt the file system, which is the slight snag with this. I know some people have managed it, but you have to have a ROM for it to work. So let's just turn ourselves off, turn the machine off, pins out, and inside. And basically there's a PCIe slot right here. I mean, I bought this, so I might as well use it. So get this card in the right way around. It is keyed, so we're going to put the card in like that. Just keyboard, I've not got enough space. Right. So that's now in. Oh, don't hit the camera. Put the locking pins back in. Okay. So let's boot back up. We really do have to sort out this filing system because it's ridiculous. And the minute you want to do any very rich media stuff, it's like, yeah, it's so if you have like an 8 gig SD card, it's always going to be, you're only ever going to have like 2 gig. That's right, isn't it? You're only going to have like 2 gig to load stuff in. Very, very frustrating. So anyway, basically, if I can have a nice 200 and something gig of SSD space, we can just load all this very rich media stuff into that. Okay. This mouse is a little bit funny. Okay, right. Utilities. Or do I need the custom ROM to be able to even see it? I might actually need the... Oh, right, this is getting complicated. So this is where I could really end up bricking this system. So I do have, and it is on here. If I go to, where are we? Documents, it's under install. And it was RISC-OS setup. He says OS5 ROMs. And so we've got this ROM here. Now this is a non-public domain experimental ROM that's been given to me via Andy Marks of RISC-OS Bits. And here it is. So he says, let's just, do we need to change the ROM so it probably needs, right. Yeah, I'm just thinking, I think we're going to end up bricking this machine, which is going to be really annoying, but let's just, yeah, right. So that's a new ROM. Where you've got the boot, if you shift double click, instead of just opening the configuration menu, it actually opens what's behind the boot. And if I remember correctly, is it in the loader? It is. So loader is, if you shift double click loader, it gives you a backdoor into the FAT side or FAT format, including the RISC-OS image ROM. So that's the old ROM, and we have to be very careful how we do this because we're running the system live. So he says. I feel like I've missed a step here, but we'll carry on. Right, so let's just rename this as... No, I know it already exists. I want to rename it. Right. Rename as RISC-OS old / image. By the way, on RISC-OS, file tags are swapped, so dots and slashes are swapped the way around. So everything is, it's not dot format or dot text, for example, it's slash text. And slashes for file directories, you know, notice here it's so it's SDFS dot dot, and it's dot dot to go through the file directory. So yeah, you get used to it, but it's backwards flipped to the way you're used to on Linux or Windows. Right, anyway, so we put that ROM in there. Okay, so that's the experimental Andy Marks ROM. Just remember that format, because that might change if we're going to reboot. Shut down, we'll restart, that'll force a reboot. Let's see what happens. If it bricks it, it's this delay that's worrying me. Oh no, there we are. So far so good. It's found that, so it's 2 gig of RAM on this, which is more than enough for RISC-OS to run. Ah! There we go. Excellent. Right. Info. And you see the date, 5.31 March 25. Experimental. It's still obviously copyrighted back to the actual owners, but this is a experimented ROM. So, excuse that. That is my dog barking outside for some random reason. Right. We might be getting somewhere. So it's actually, we're now seeing a... That's fun. Okay. We haven't broken it. Basically, it was either we were going to break it or it was going to work. So, excellent. Okay, so let's go back to... Where were we? Here we are, Partition Manager. Ah! How excellent. I like it when things work. Okay. Right. New volume. That is what it is. That volume. Next. So can I call that RISC-PC? Well, I guess we'll stay in file core. Do I want it bootable? Yeah, possibly. Format. Okay. That's now unmounted again. So, what happens if we shut down, restart? At least it's seen something. We're getting somewhere. I think the initial idea of this was you meant to put your boot structure on, so it basically didn't boot from eMMC. It now booted from the SSD. Best internet setup. Could try and get the Wi-Fi set up and running as well at some point, but for now we're just cabled in. Ah, there we go. RISC-PC. Ah, we are. Excellent. Right, 238 gigabytes. How superb. Excellent. We did a thing and it worked. Great. Right. We can do some stuff now because I've managed to fill everything else up. So, right. That's superb. So, oh, right. First thing we need to do then is some things. Documents. Install. And actually I need to put a data stick in because I want to install, so the web browser, the stock web browser on this, which is now stopped working, it's now not working. Why is that not working? Oh, I could have pulled the cable out. Hang on. I might have pulled the hardwire out of the machine. Oh, just bear with me. Yes, I think I had. There we go. It's not a very good cable in all honesty. Right, there we go. Okay. Unfortunately, we do have to do another reboot for that to work. So let's just do another reboot quick. I'm almost feeling a tea break or beer break coming on very shortly. But we've actually done it. We've done a thing. It hasn't broken a thing. So we're doing quite well. So let's see if this now connects. Hopefully it should. But no, we do need some kind of flexible partition thingy because this is just a pain in the butt to do. Right. NetSurf. Okay, that's now connected. So... yeah, I mean, NetSurf is not great. Let's see if it's going to behave or not. Nope. So, Google's kind of, it's stopped working. I mean, I had allowed JavaScript, etc. But, yeah, it's kind of not working even with it, but you just get a blank page now with a Google search. So we do need a slightly more modern browser. So I've got a USB data stick, which I'm just going to try and put in the front of the machine. And hopefully that will mount as a drive here. Hopefully in a minute if it wants to. Because we did have this the other week with stuff not mounting. Come on. Let's put that for a minute. Let's try another one. Of course, it does have to be fat format for it to see it. Just try putting another data stick in another socket just to make sure it's I don't want that. There we go. Right. So yeah, it sees that data stick okay. It's called SSD. It's not an SSD. We'll just dismount that one. It's not seeing. It's annoyingly not seeing the one I just put. We had this issue, if you remember, the other week. Let's see if that works again. We'll come back to that. Basically, I want to put the newer what's it called? Iris browser, I think it's called. Basically, there's a more modern web browser which is sort of floating around, which is meant to be WebKit HTML5 compatible. It kind of works. It's a little on the bloaty side. It doesn't support. You can barely do internet banking with it. I wouldn't do internet banking on a Riscobus machine. It doesn't run YouTube. It's not particularly brilliant with media, so it's a bit hit and miss. Anyway, right. So let's carry on. So put some nice shiny things in here, really. So let's go back to documents and my install. And there's lots of stuff to install. So emulators, which is that. So let's put emulators in there. I also like the drag and drop interface, which is just, you know, always like that on this. ScumVM. Pop Scum in. Excellent. So we can dump those. Delete that. Let's just check under emulators what we've got. So those two into there. DOS PC, and we want these two into here. Because I have a this is stuff I've already pre-set up, so I've actually got a Windows and DOS box already set up. So, and the C drive, which is helpful, so that can go in there. Don't know if I need that at the moment. That I don't need. Games disks, I think we'll have games disks. Why not? Oh, it's games disks already there. Is that the same data? Yes, it's the same data. So that's good. Right, yeah, these are interesting. So Starfighter 3000, I think we've already installed. Lemmings, I'm trying to remember which build of Lemmings that is. He says so. Well, it's broken, whatever it is, because some of this won't run properly from memory. That's some of my own basic code, so we don't need that. What else have we got? We've already done a lot of this, haven't we? 26 bits. I think we're going to need that as well, so let's just it's very easy to get lost where you are and what you're doing. It's just like, hang on a minute, right. So back to that. Emulators, 26-bit, hostfs. Oh no, okay, looking good. So there's a build of Lemmings in there, which is fantastic. 8-bit has a few bits in it. I think we're all right there. So I want under my install new. I'm just going around in circles there. Right. Install. Let's go set up 5 ROMs. That's the ROM we've already done. Oh, we want Mist. We do need that for ScumVM. So we'll put Mist in. So the Mist that I'm running is actually a PC version. It's I forgot the disc. I have got the disc. It's the Masterpiece edition, which if I just show you, let's have a look. So this is it here. So I picked this up very cheap in the charity shop. So this is PC CD-ROM. It's the Masterpiece edition, and I've basically just copied the contents of this disc, and I've just dumped it as a directory. Basically, so it's just a folder called Miss. That's just the contents basically of that CD. So this does not natively run on RISC-OS, but let's try software. I'll put USB serial on in a minute, but let's just. I think what I've done is I've got multiple copies of the same thing. We also want to get Doom. Got to put Doom on here, obviously. There's a few other things I want to put on, but right. So if we open ScumVM, hopefully it'll just run. It does run. Excellent. Okay. We add game, and does it? It doesn't see the. That's interesting. So no, I don't want to. Can we go to a different directory? We can. So because it's defaulting to. So can you go to, and this will be interesting to see if it likes this. It might not like this, but let's just try it. So RISC PC $. Oh no, there we go. It does work. Excellent. And we just want to click mist and click choose. And pick a game. Mist Masterpiece Edition. Choose. Platform. Windows. Graphics. We'll keep as is. Key map we'll keep as is. Audio we'll keep as is. Okay. Right. So, if I now click start, appreciate you won't be able to hear the audio, but it actually will now just run. And it will run with all the video and the QuickTime and all that kind of stuff. Remember, this is not meant to be running natively on RISC-OS. And there it is. And it runs. Oh, you can hear. Oh, interesting. Oh, yes, because the sound card. Right, yeah. So, I forgot that. Oh, I did plumb that in. Right. Oh, interesting. Right, so basically, people, I can't hear, but you can. Right, yeah. You know when you just had setups of things you've forgotten? But yeah, so, and this works for not everything, but there's a large catalogue of PC titles that will actually just run and actually run really, really well. So, and you can set this to go full screen. Sometimes it's a bit safer just to run it in a window. But yeah, very easy to do if you've got a copy of the original files, which you just need to rip from the disk, and it does actually run quite well. So yeah, that works. So we'll close that down. Emulators. Now, with RISC-OS, one of the issues is that, especially if you're running the native RISC-OS, is if I go to hostfs here, it will actually see the Archimedes application software, or what we call the plings, which are the little applications with the exclamation mark. You might notice everything that's an application has a little exclamation mark, so it's known as a pling. Basically, it will see Archimedes software as, and it will go, yeah, that's a RISC-OS application. RISC-OS 5 can't run the Archimedes software, not natively, because basically it's compiled for 26-bit ARM architecture, and we're running in 32-bit ARM architecture. So if I try and run Lemmings, it won't run. I go to Scribe, and it goes not 32-bit compatible. Now, there are ways around this, including ways to get stuff to run inside RISC-OS 5. The only snag with it is you can end up messing up and bricking the operating system. So what I like to do is there's ArcM, there's also Acorn Mode, which technically isn't public domain, but ArcM is. So hopefully, does ArcM run, or have we not got a? Probably haven't got a ROM in it. Acorn Mode probably does run. Let's check. Yeah. So basically, what it does is, yeah, let's go and moan about it. I need to do a bit of setup, but okay. So basically, it runs an emulated Acorn Archimedes inside RISC-OS 5. So if I middle click down here and get some info, you'll see that we're actually running as RISC-OS 3, as if we were an Acorn Archimedes. Now, if I go back to the hostfs, which is now that folder we were looking at before, I think we're going to need to set this up because this isn't quite working. Let's just try and remember how to get out of this. I think it's F12. No. How do you get out of this again? No, that's reset. No, that resets the system. It's such a long time since I've done this. I can't remember how to get out of it. Oh, it's one of the commands on this which I cannot remember. It's a pain because it's a key that isn't on the short keyboard, which is super annoying. Bummer. And I did the RISC-OS Direct series as well. That had this is basically all stuff pinched from RISC-OS Direct, effectively. Worst case scenario, we could just cold start the machine because I cannot remember how this works. Yeah, that's not improved the situation. Let's just we'll power cycle, we'll come back in because I can't remember how to reset. It won't matter too much. RISC-OS is quite happy. It doesn't corrupt like Linux builds do. So we'll just come straight back in. While we wait, we'll just say hello to George. Love some RISC-OS, that's good. Everyone does. I need to put this on my Pi 3. There's nothing to do right now. Oh, God, yeah, it'll run fine on a 3. This runs pretty well on an original, in all honesty. I'm just running on a 4 because it's sort of... yeah, commute module. RISC-OS doesn't run on the 5 at the moment at all. So, right, where are we? Let's try and get this to work. So, if I shift double click, we need a ROM. I've got a ROM, so why didn't that execute? That should have ran and it didn't. So let me just we've got an Acorn. We've got a ROM we can steal from here. Just like steal that ROM, put it in there. Why won't you boot? You should boot. You've got a ROM in there. Damn it. So that's a hostfs folder. Apps, games. Yeah, continue. So if we just, I need to set this emulation up properly. I'm literally just copied this off. So, so where are we? So I just want to dump. Let's dump my 2 games in there. README. How'd you get out of it? Exiting. You can exit by double clicking the shutdown basic program on the pinboard, or by pressing Alt break. I knew it was something like that. Right, okay, fine. I'm glad you like the stone wallpaper. Yeah, that's kind of done deliberately. So, because I'm going for a old look. Right, okay. So, that's actually booted a bit happy. There's the games. So, now, Lemmings that I showed you didn't run. It might mess the colours up, but it might run. So let's just see if it runs. Yeah, it does this weird thing where it messes the colour palette up, which is a little bit of a bug with Lemmings, but it does work. Oh, you. Dig. Thank you. It works. I might need to turn that down a bit. There we go. Too low. There we are. Something like that. I can't hear it, so you'll have to tell me if the music's overbearing. But basically, it allows you to run all the Archimedes stuff that's not actually compatible natively with the Pi, and it runs really, really well. It is an emulation. I'll accept that, but let's just so we can quit this. There we go. Return to desktop. And we do have Elite. Archimedes Elite. Yes, I do have a high resolution monitor. Thank you for asking. Let's see if this works. It does work. There you are. Just smack myself back into space station. Yeah, okay. So yeah, but it all works really well. So it's I think Elite, if I remember correctly, if you actually run it on a proper RISC PC hardware, it has resolution aspect ratio problems. So you get it in like a sort of weird letterbox format, which obviously it's not doing on here because we're running in a I'll just go F12, break back out. Yeah, so that runs really, really well. There's some other games on here which we probably won't go over right now. ADFFS is the emulator that does technically allow for software to run back in the 5 environment, but I have had it mess up 5 quite badly. So sometimes it's good just to run it in this mode because this is like a sandbox. So it's running as a RISC OS 3 in a sandbox, and it's just a little bit better. My mouse is awful, but you get the gist. So that's probably going to mess things up. Oh no, it doesn't. There we are. I've dropped the resolution, so that's probably nearer the native resolution that you'd expect. A little bit soft, but yeah. So basically, you can run in emulation. For those of you that just are interested in playing with this, RISC OS Direct for the Raspberry Pi, which is free. RISC OS Direct, which I'm not using on this, does actually do all this. It's already built in. My video series on the channel covered how all this kind of works. But you don't have to mess around with installing it because it's already on the disk image. I'm just messing around installing it because basically I want this on this machine. Basically my sort of retro Acorn Play thing that would be quite good for exhibition. So if I go shut down. So what did you say? Oh, break. Oh yeah. There we go. And that actually gets us back out. Marvellous. So yeah, so that's how we can run stuff that doesn't run otherwise, if you know what I mean. There's also some disk images. You can mount the disk images as well. So you can mount Archimedes disk images. So that's fantastic. Okay, so let's just tidy up a little bit. Okay, emulators, 8-bit. So BBC Micro, he says, should run. Model B should run. Yes, it does run. There we are. So it doesn't do mode 7 particularly well, but it should do. If we go like mode 2. Yep, and it will actually run the colours properly. Colour 1, colour 2, yeah. And then if we go colour, hang on. is it 9, 8, 9? Yeah, the flashing colours will work as well, so that works perfectly fine. And again, F12 breaks back out. Bearing in mind it does actually run in the background, and you've got your options, so you can configure the system. The Wi-Fi Sheep 500 subscriber special disc. You can click and drag that on, and then if we go back to mode 7 and start, oops. Now, unfortunately, my keyboard is a little out of whack from where things are, so just bear with me. There we are. Star. Is it star dot? Yes. Star dot will actually give you a directory, or star cat also works to give you a directory, and shift. Can I shift break? Yes. So 2019. This was a disk image that was done at the time. So Nanogang's Wakefield build, Sparkworks, which was done for the National Computer Museum. That's Milton Keynes Raspberry Pi Jam, and so this was a Sparkworks fireworks simulate. This is not particularly amazing, but yeah, it's a little bit artifacty, and again, it's a bit noisy. But basically, you could there we are. So it's just palette switching is all it is, so it's not amazing, but it's sort of trying to very quickly simulate fireworks. You can sort of have things you can switch on and off. Yeah, it's not brilliant, but could you escape? Yes. So we just break out of that. Shift break back in. My old Twitter handle there shows you how old this is. "8-bit bonus disc." And then this has got the Wakefield build. This was for the RISC-OS Wakefield show. I think the colour palette is all over the shop on this, but this is quite an early build of Nanogangs, which is my all written in BBC Basic game, which never quite was fit. This is an early build, trust me, but so it's probably going to run. I always found the emulator ran a little bit slow than the actual real hardware, so bearing in mind this is written in Basic, so it's clunky, to say the least. I could, Marge just saying I could use this on my BBS. I could, as what, downloadable tele software. Yeah, I could. I should really. It's not, I mean, it's all stuff I've done. It's not particularly brilliant, but I always said if you have or run, you know, a vintage computer system, then people won't agree with me here, but I think it's kind of nice if you can actually have some of your own software, you know, programs you've written. So for me, having my own, it's so slow. It's all written in BBC Basic. It's running at like 2 megahertz. So, and the BBC Micro doesn't have a sprite engine. So to get sprites without using machine language, that's why it's all flickery and really, really slow. So you rescue, and then we hit the flag, finish gate. Yeah, so, but to do this kind of stuff without sprites and to have your own software, basically your own programs, you can demonstrate stuff you've created running on your own hardware, or the hardware that, you know, you're maintaining. I just think there's kind of something nice about that. Maybe people disagree with me, but I spent so long on this. There we are. Thank you for playing this tech demo. This isn't the most definitive version. I think you may have seen there's actually better versions of this program, but and it kind of runs in this cycling attract mode, I should say, rather. Anyway, let's break out of that, and F12 to break out the emulator, back to the desktop. So yeah, that works. PC DOS. Now so it's DOSBox as a basically, if I double click it, there is a RISC-OS version of DOSBox. I did set up, so I've got C drive here, which has 2 versions of Windows 3.1 already installed. I did set up a little command file, which if we shift double click, actually sets up the C drive, so you don't have to manually set it up every time. So it's an API call basically from RISC-OS to DOSBox. So if I double click Windows, it should, if I go to, it should have mounted C drive. So if I now go, C slash, no, make sure you get that right, C slash. Oh, for God's sake, I thought we'd already preset this up. Okay, fine. Mount C. Right, C dot slash. Yeah, I thought the point of this was that we're, hang on a minute. Right, so what is the point of that then? It doesn't do the thing it's meant to do. It's just to make life easier. A. Oh, thank you. Rhino. Yes. You know, I keep saying I know every time, and then I don't know. One of those moments, I'm afraid. Oh, that's going super. Hang on, I've messed this up. Right, 1 minute. Right, fresh run. Okay, thank you. It does. I mean, yeah, right. See, no. Oh God! Right, let's do this manually. Do you know, you just got out of the habit of doing stuff, and I used to know all this off the back of, and I just, for God's sake, how annoying is this? Right. Mount. Can't remember how you do the damn squiggly line, which is good. Like that. Slash. This is annoying me. C drive. It does. Oh, Jeff. But it does. Is it case sensitive on this? I forget. One more time. If it doesn't work, I'll have to leave it for tonight because I cannot remember how. It's really dumb, but I can't remember how on earth you do this. So C drive. Oh, it probably wants. Do you know what? It probably wants the whole blooming. Oh, I bet you it wants the whole. Actually, it won't work, will it? Because it won't work. Hang on. Thinking out loud. Well, it wouldn't work because it's not even pointing at the right damn place. Because it's. Oh, for God's sake! No wonder that does. That's really dumb. That doesn't work, and I know why it doesn't work because actually it's not even the right. Right, hang on a minute. That explains it. NVMe risk P. You know, some things are like so obvious. It's like, why am I just missing things? Right there. Save. Okay. Right. So there we go. I'll just go win, can't I? So I go win. Oh, for God's sake, I know why. Hang on. So CD, dir, isn't it? And you have to go in the Windows folder. CD Windows Win. There we are. There we go. Sorry about that. Right. So yeah, basically, I think that one of these is set up. The other one is, this is just a very basic install. But basically, you can run x86 stuff, and I think that's the wrong. I'm trying to remember how to break out mouse control now, because I can't remember how to do that either. So. Yep, that's changing the cycles. How do I break back out of Alt break? There we go. Stop DOS box. There we are. Right. Okay. If anyone is still with me, I figured it out. Okay. So that mounts the drive. Excellent. So we now go dir and CD. Win. I need to get rid of that other Windows then. So I've got two copies of Windows basically. Win31. Win. Is there anything in Win31 then? CD. Oh no, dir. Right. So one. That was a ton of. What on earth was in this folder then? No idea. Right, I do need to set this up. I've literally just dragged this off drive, so I thought this was all pre-set up, but clearly it is not. But what I have got, if we go back to, so at least that's working at the very least. If we go back. Just seeing what Caleb's saying. Yeah, I can't remember why I set this up, basically, which is not helpful. So we go back to documents, install. Basically, I've got this DOS folder, so you could just run stuff in DOS if you really felt like it. So let's just go back to our emulators. So there's DOS. So anything in C drive basically will get mounted. So we can just put DOS in there, copy that across. Like that. Excellent. So boot back up again. CD Win31 Win, which will it's not. That's hang on. Back out again. Back out again. CD dot slash CD Windows Win. There we go. Right. Okay, so if we now go into main and file manager, into DOS, And then we've got things like, so these are basic. So we've got things like HeliSim, which you might remember we use quite a lot. So I think HeliSim will just execute. It'll run too fast, but it will run. There we go. It'll flick. Apologies in advance for the flickering. But you might remember we emulate this quite a lot. Actually, it's running quite well on this. It doesn't run too well on real hardware, but yeah, so you might remember HeliSim that we use. We've ran this on the BBC Micro under its 286 emulation. We've ran it on an ESP32. We ran this. And we also ran it on real hardware where it ran way too fast. But yeah, so a lot of your no, hang on, don't want the screensaver. So a lot of your Acorn stuff, your PC DOS stuff will run quite well. So we quit that, and IndyCar run. Cannot remember. Is it played? No, IndyCar. Oh, it might. Oh, it crashed. A little bit of setup that might run. Again, these are just DOS games, obviously, but you've got Dino Park. One of the only mech games. So mech, Minnesota, something education of something or other. I can't remember what it stands for. Basically, US-based education provider. Basically did... oh God, what's the American game when they all die of dysentery called? Oh, my mind's gone blank. I'm sorry. Someone shout it out in the comments. Oregon Trail. That's it, Oregon Trail. So MEC did that, but obviously that's great for educating American students. It's not very relevant for the rest of the world. Let's try Dino Park, see if that'll run. But one of the things they did run, which was quite fun. Is that going to run? Or is it going to go crashy? Run the application full screen. Oh, it's gone crashy. Oh no, there we are. Dino Park Tycoon. So I actually have this on disc, and I do have the Mac version. So it's a business simulator, and I used to play this a lot. I don't know if the sound's coming through or not. Probably need to configure that, but yeah, you could basically it's a sort of well, you can see what it is. It's a simulation. Buy some electric, put electric in the fence. There you go. Hire an employee. Tour guide. Maintenance. We'll hire a mate. We've got no staff left, so tour guide. There you go. You usually go bust very, very quickly. You just buy like the cheapest dinosaur you can. Stick that in there, yeah. Buy some food. Oh, this is quite funny, right? Squash the fly. And it remembers where you squish the fly. The entertainment value, especially as a child playing this, was. How do we set? So it's like. It's gonna be. No one wants to go to the desert in the. There you are. Right, do that. And there you go. So it's cheap. There we are. And you can start the park. And then your parking lots. You start making some money. And there's your dinosaur. And you get the gist with how that works. So, yeah, it's simple for its time, but it's quite fun. It's quite fun to play. So we'll quit game. Yep, quite sure. It's actually already a park on here, so obviously because it's reading this off a disk image that I've used before, so it's quit game. Yes, we do want to quit. No, we don't want to save. Exit to DOS. And there you go, Mac. Yep. And you get this sort of window for Windows. It's not a Windows application, so it's always kind of curious. Oh, I want to close. There we go. What else? Am I going to break? Yes, that's probably. Yeah, I do need. Oh no, we've got glider. We have got glider. Excellent. So glider. This is a Windows port from the Mac, and this is an absolutely fantastic game. Played this so much in the early 90s on the Mac, and this is the Windows port. So to do this on a real RISC PC, you'd need the 386 or 486 module card. I do have a couple of the cards. I think this machine originally had one in. If it's not blown to bits, I don't know. But you could do this, run Windows on a RISC PC, but you needed to have, basically it was a second processor to do it. We're doing this purely in emulation, so we're running natively on an ARM chip under the operating system with DOSBox, and we are just running good base. Oh God, right, no. There we go. The Mac versions are actually very difficult to emulate nowadays. They seem to be quite unstable and crash quite a lot. So this version on Windows, ironically, considering this is an absolutely iconic Mac game, actually runs really well. So, but again, very early. This is probably one of the very first games I ever played, actually, which had been way back in 91. So I've been like 4 years old, something like that. Black and white Macintosh. It was a Mac 170 portable, which was my father's work machine. So I played this in and it was proper 1-bit black and white, not grayscale. But yeah, so this game, although this is the PC build or the Windows build, this game is extremely nostalgic for me. Put it that way. I'm just going around in circles now. Anyway, you get the idea. Let's just break out of this. Yeah, so we'll stop breakout. Right, there we go. So yeah, so we're getting some software set up, which is fantastic. So we could put. I'd like to get our camera up and running. I can't remember why it's not running, but yeah, so we could actually put some of these onto the pin board. To do that, you can, for example, if I wanted acorn mode, you could click, drag and drop. You need to remember to save. So you middle click and then you save the pin board. If you don't save the pin board, when you reset the machine, the icons disappear. So that's fantastic. So how are we doing free size wise? Okay, so we're using just about a gig used. So yeah, we can just use, that's fantastic. So we should probably say a huge thank you to Andy Marks, RISC Respite, for giving me access, because the ROM I'm using, this booting, is not public domain ROM. It's been modified to allow the use of the NVMe SSD system that we've now installed in this. But that's absolutely fantastic. So this project as a whole has been a real, lots of people have donated things to make this happen. So I think we're on, is it 4 people donated things, either directly or indirectly at the moment for this project. So it's basically built out of 2 RISC PCs, both donated. The locking pins were donated by Peter Halkins, who does the RPCMU RISC PC emulator, and now we're running a ROM which has been donated by Andy Marks at RISC-OS Bits. So yeah, it's a real community effort to get this project over the line. So I just want to get software and games on it basically. So yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. I think we might leave it there tonight as we're coming up to 10 o'clock. So for those of you that joined, wrong mouse again. Hello, right. Oh, I've gone blurry. I've gone blurry because I was messing around with the camera when we moved it. So there we go. There we are. Right. So just a reminder, I'll just go back to the show dates very quickly if I can. There we go. So on Saturday the 7th, Sunday the 8th of June 2025, I'm going to be at the Econet LAN Party, National Museum of Computing, Bletchley Park, Milton Keynes. And this machine, along with two BBC Micro 128s, are going to be there as well. So hence why I want to try and get this machine up and running. Because that's basically the Saturday, the first Saturday of June, we're going to finish this series of live streams. 8 till 8 season 3 is going to finish around the 31st of May. So that's Saturday the 31st of May will probably be the last episode, and we'll take a break for the summer because I very much appreciate your company. I'm sure many of you probably now want to be out in the lighter, warmer evenings, and I know I've got stuff to do over the summer. So traditionally we generally stop the live stream over the summer, so and that's a good place to stop the week just before I go to exhibition. Plan to be back after November the 16th, so that weekend, Saturday and Sunday in Cambridge on the 15th and 16th of November. The week after, we'll see where we are, but around that time we'll probably be back with a brand new season of 8 till 8. It'll be season 4 of 8 till 8 live streams here on youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. I do plan of doing a sort of semi-live stream type project around ham radio and SSTV, which is slow scan television. So, wrong camera, there we are. So if you want to join me for that, that'll be on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. You need to go to 2.wifisheep.co.uk. Details and links for that are in the description of the video. I'm going to be live streaming, not necessarily me in camera like a live stream, but might be live streaming my experimental slow scan television service, as well as being literally on the air. I'm thinking I might try an experimental 24/7 or 24-hour live stream TV channel basically that you can use with SSTV decoders over the summer period. So if you're interested in that, and also any of the ham radio type stuff I'm hoping to do, that'll be over on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. So if you haven't done, please make sure you have subscribed and support me over there. It's on YouTube. It's 2.wifisheep.co.uk is the short link, and that'll take you over to Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. For now, for this evening, I think we'll say we'll call it a night there. So thank you very much once again, everybody, for your company. Hope you enjoyed this evening. We've kind of done some things and made some things that worked. We didn't break stuff. So we'll probably be carrying on in this kind of theme next week. So I have every intention of being back with you next week, same time, same place, from 2000 hours GMT. Once again, huge thank you for your company this evening. If you haven't done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing to me here on Wi-Fi Sheep, and of course over on Wi-Fi Sheep Channel 2. And I guess all that's left for me to say is wish you a very good night, and I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Until then, thanks so much for your company. The time is just coming up to, we are 1 minute to 10 or 21:59 hours GMT+1 here in the UK. Thank you once again. I wish you a peaceful night. Good night. Little bit of bonus content if anyone's interested. I'm just thinking I'm really annoyed that the put my phone out of the way. Little bit of bonus content for anyone's interested. I'm really annoyed about why the web browser doesn't work with the data stick that I had, which was this one, and I'm just wondering, is that even in the right format? It might not be. So I've got that stick that I know does work. Put that in the PC that I'm recording, and go to. There's a way of. I probably shouldn't say this really, but there is actually a way of downloading the Iris browser kind of unofficially. It is embedded in RiskRest Direct, but it's not available otherwise. So I'm just umming and ahhing about if it's worth, probably is worth just trying to download that again, which I will do, not showing you what I'm doing, because I will probably be in a lot of trouble if I give away how to get hold of it. But it is known. It's not exactly it's a secret that's not, it's not how can I put this, it's hiding in plain sight, I think is probably the best way to describe it. But yeah, it is an issue with this machine of it not actually reading, basically not reading the data sticks properly. So I appreciate I'm actually lagging a bit now because don't use the streaming PC for doing heavy downloading and copying. I just want to do this very quickly and see if we can get the browser to run. Then I will call it a night, because if you're watching this, by the way, as part of the video edit, yeah, this is just off, we're live streaming. This is just off the back of one of my 8 till 8 episodes that I've just said goodnight to everybody. And I'm like, actually, while we're here, we're still live streaming at the minute, and I'm recording this at the same time. So if anybody who actually stayed on the call, on the live stream, will be like, oh, hang on, what's he doing now? He said goodnight and he's still there. So I was like, yeah, I know. Right, so he says, is that downloaded? Yes, it has. Right. So just bear with me. I'm going to copy these files. Paste onto the data stick. Let's just take a moment. 142 mega data, so it's not huge. We'll just leave you there a moment. So once we've copied that through, I've got to send that screensaver off. It's extremely nice. Once that has finished copying through, he says, right, are we done? I think we're done. Right. Has that copied through? I'm not sure. Let's find out. Now, is that going to mount correctly? Right, it does. And Iris browser. Iris browser. So, okay, try that again. Right. So these are the April 2005 builds of Iris browser, which is meant to be a HTML 5 WebKit compatible version. So you've got to do a little bit of installing work. So from memory, we double click boot. Oops. So you double click your boot and you hit install, and then you click and drag and merge. And then you hit set, and then you do the same with system. So you click, drag, merge, install, he says, and then if we go there, drag that up, this probably isn't going to work, but let's give it a shot. I love these faster buttons, random faster button for, you know, an apparent reason. Okay. Disable. So it now loads down here. It does work. Full screen. Interesting. So if we try google.co.uk, yes, it does work. I wouldn't recommend this on anything slower than a Raspberry Pi 4. Let's just try Wi-Fi sheep.co, my awful website. Yeah, and that runs. It's actually got all the old channels on it, which need to come off, but that runs all right as well. So yeah, okay. So Iris browser is obviously going to be much better than the stock NetSurf browser, which Google has stopped working with, or on, I should say. So Iris should be free. It's not free. It is embedded in RiskOS Direct, but I don't think at time of recording it's actually available as a standalone. So, well, that's cool. And then again, what we can do is we should put that just onto our pinboard. That gone on? Yes, it has. So drag, drop, and that just makes a shortcut on the pinboard. We middle click and we save to make sure that we save the pinboard. Remember that they save them down here. We do have some options, so yeah, interesting. So probably need to play with that, but that's basically Iris, the WebKit enabled HTML5 web browser, which does everything other. I think I've just loaded 2 sessions by accident, which I didn't mean to do. Look at that. Yeah, you can load multiple instances of it, so you just need to be careful. It does most things, but what it won't do, at least I don't think it does, it never used to do it, is YouTube. It gets a little bit slow. YouTube, this is on a Pi 4 as well. No, come on. What are you doing? Come on. Right. youtube.com/Wi-Fi sheep. Probably won't work. Well, it'll load, as in the page will work. So we go, I'll just accept everything for a minute. But it's not going to play videos. If it does, I'll be extremely surprised, but it probably is not going to play videos. And again, this is where my Iris runs a bit slow. So I wouldn't recommend on anything slower than the Pi 4. Is that it? Yeah, so it's not, that's it. So it's just not compatible. So yeah, as I said, it kind of, most things do seem to run, but YouTube and stuff like that is just not going to happen. So anyway, that was interesting and well worth doing. So it's worth having as a browser, because at least it means we can search for things, we can download and go and grab other software, especially RISC-OS software for the platform. And especially if we're going to get the native Wi-Fi, try and get that set up and running, which is now supported if you're running at least a Raspberry Pi 3 or 4, should actually work with the supported Wi-Fi. Although the Wi-Fi is a bit, there's two Wi-Fi stacks for RISC-OS, and the one we've tried, which is raw RISC-OS Opens, is a bit ropey. So got to make a decision on that. But anyway, that's a good starting point. Okay, everybody, just wanted to do that real quick. So I was recording that. I thought, while I'm here, I'll leave the stream running. So I really am going now. So so you'll see that in a video at some point later on. Yeah, there we are. So thanks once again, and for those of you that have kept on, still with us after I said goodnight. Yeah, a little bit of bonus content for you. Don't normally do that, or I sometimes just leave the camera on by accident, but I just wanted to check that because that was going to bug me otherwise. But overall, yeah, really happy actually how things are running with this, and this project is actually going quite well. So it's just cool to have I mean, I'm deliberately setting it up in the 4.3. This can do, you know, quite high resolutions, but I just think it's cool to have a machine that is a sort of modern RISC PC, if you like, that looks and feels like a RISC PC. Acorn still runs with the original keyboard, works with it, but we can run all the sort of newer stuff and a bit more RAM, go a bit faster, that kind of thing. So, and I'm just thrilled that we've got, thanks to Andy Marks, as I said, we've got this ME or solid state SSD stuff running thanks to his ROM, which is, you know, really, really useful. So anyway, right, I'm going to leave it there. So thanks once again to everybody, and we'll call it a night. So cheers everyone, and good night.